Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We back on it. We back at it. This is the Cruise Dynasty podcast. I got the crew with me, the usual crew with me. I got the Craft Man. Craft Man, what's going on, big dog?
Shit, watching this college football today, just saw my dogs just handle business. We about to get on a roll. Just take you a shot of that Jack.
I did, but that one hit me hard. I ain't gonna lie. I went back to back real quick.
Oh, man.
But yeah,
well,
man.
We got C Swizzy, boy. What's up, C Swizzy?
C Swizzy in the building. What's up, man?
Not much. About to find out what my baby is tomorrow. Excited.
Yep. Chris is going through real life things right now. He's having a gender reveal tomorrow. Already got one kid popping out a second. Chris, how you feel, man? Go ahead and give your honest opinion. How do you fucking feel?
Like I said, I mean, I'm freaking the fuck out, to be honest. But I'm prepared. Because I gotta be. You know?
Hey, there ain't nothing to it but to do it. That's all it is. When I was about to have my baby, I mean, hell, y'all two had kids before I did. I was like, it is what it is. I just better be ready. There ain't no excuse. You just gotta do it. So it is what it is. So Chris is definitely taking that mentality.
What y'all think it's gonna be?
Look, Chris, I'm gonna say you get your wish. It's gonna be a girl, man. You're gonna have a female.
Yeah, because Haley was like, if it's a boy, we're gonna have to keep trying to have more kids. And I was like, we just gonna have a fuck ton of boys, I bet.
Look, man, I'll tell y'all how it is. Since I have a girl, and I'm the only one of us that has a girl right now that we know, having a girl will turn you soft, man. It'll turn you soft. I'm like a little teddy bear over here. Except when it comes to college football, I just want to yell at shit. I just want to yell and kick people and shit.
Silas being here watching football with me, and he'll do shit like that. He'll throw his hands up.
Yeah.
Start clapping and shit.
Same, man. Shit, right now I got the fights on one TV. I got football on another TV. And then I got the pod rolling with the crew on the computer. So if y'all see me just kind of doze off, it's because I'm watching the fights. I'm going to try to get y'all in on the fights one day. We'll see how it goes, though. But shoot, man, tonight's topic, man, I guess before we go on, add the podcast. Join the Discord. I'll do better about getting the information out there and stuff like that. We got more stuff coming too, man. This ain't even it. This is just the beginning. This is just 1 year of what the hell we've been doing. We about to be rolling, man. 1 year to the day I die. I got like 60 years of this shit. So we'll see how it goes. Crap, man, how you feel about that, man? I'm about to do 60 years. What you think?
I'm with you, bro. And shit, it came along in just 1 year. I just the first couple episodes we did, I was walking around in my garage with my laptop up to my mouth, speaking into the microphone, and then, had to upgrade to the mic, and then we had to quit every 40 minutes because of fucking Zoom and start over again and act like we're picking up where we left off, and now we can just go on for 2 hours or however long we want to talk. Don't have to worry about it. My voice sounds like myself and not like I don't know. I still sound like a redneck prick, but
Shoot.
we getting there.
My old lady says I sound like a robot now. So I guess it is what it is. Hey, join the Discord, man. Hop on the Discord and interact with me, the Craft Man, C Swizzy, and the Poor Man. We got fantasy questions. We'll answer them. Gambling questions. We own them. Ask us even shit that maybe not even be on the fantasy thing. Like, we watch college football. We're into it. UFC, I'm into it. Boxing. Hell, if you got any gambling questions, hop on the Discord. We'll do it. Add me on Twitter. Add the Cruise Dynasty Podcast Twitter for sure. Add that one. In fact, you ain't even got to add me. Just add the Cruise Podcast Twitter. Add that one. But C Swizzy, he's our tech man. He's the one mostly hanging with all this shit. Chris, you got anything you want to say to the people before we just get on to our little bullshit for tonight?
No, just go and follow that Discord. I'm trying to teach these two how to work this shit. I'm gonna talk them into not having these laptops. We got to get rid of those laptops. I got to get y'all a fucking system that y'all can create content on. Is what we need to get to
Man,
bring this
shit.
stuff out.
Chris, man, after I get out of this place in August and move on to the next place, I'm just gonna put it up in the air. Maybe it's possible. But then again, after after December, I'm gonna try to get on down there y'all's way. We might have to hop in Craft's garage every now and then and get in person and
Shoot,
get us
y'all be able to
some.
come down to where
Wow.
we're at. I have the
Shit.
full on recording studio.
Head up to Barnesville, head up to Pike. I'll head up to all those little country bumpkin places where y'all at, and we'll just do what we do. I like it better in person, anyways. But heck, I like doing it on the Discord too, though. It's fun. I'm having fun. Shit. Cheers to
Yeah.
y'all.
Hell yeah, same. I'm about to get that fiber up in this bitch too. It's about to run straight up to my house, and I'm gonna get rid of my little. The best way I can explain my internet is just Usenet, kind of. It's just like a satellite piece of crap. Lag, ping, whatever ping is, whatever.
Right.
Chris knows what ping is, but
Yeah, ping is how long it takes for what you're trying to do to the computer to talk to the computer and pull back so that it actually happens. That's what.
So with that said, for the people out here who listen to us on a regular basis, this ain't it. We going further and further. We taking it up to the next step, and then we taking it to the next step, and then we taking it to the next step. That's all we're gonna say. And then I'm gonna do this till the day we die, and hopefully these guys will do the same. But we'll just see. They might not want to do it till the day they die. But till the day I die, I'm doing this shit. So we rolling, man. What y'all think, fellas? We're gonna hop on a topic tonight. Playoffs are almost here. Let's give these people let's just talk about the regular season. Who was the best players? Who was the best running back? Who was the best wide receiver? We'll give these people mostly from the redraft perspective. Who was a bust? Who was shitty? Because that's the thing. Even though me and Chris play Dynasty, in the end, year to year, we're just in a PPR league year to year. And we're in this league year to year, and I'm in another league year to year. It's just a year to year basis. So you got to know who did good, who busted, at every position. I know we got a few players we want to talk about. We want to talk about some values, people from the players from the redraft perspective of who we drafted low and who went off. So that's basically all I got to say about what we're going to talk about tonight. With that said, though, let's hit some news. I know Chris got a little bit of news. Craftman, you got a little bit of news. Only news I got is Brandy Cooks, he ain't playing. The dude's out. That dude is out. So hopefully you got some other options or whatever. Craftman, what you got?
yeah, Brandon Cooks is on the bus list too, by the way. But
Bust. Big time.
straight up bust. But I'm gonna say as much as I can, and then Chris just pick me up if I miss anything. But a big one tomorrow, Debo. They play at 4:25. I'm having to deal with this. He's a game time decision, so if you really don't have anybody to throw in, and you really want Debo to play, my best advice for y'all out there is to pick up maybe Juwan Jennings, DeAndre Carter. They play at 4:25. If they're on your free agency and Debo's out, maybe see if you can pick up one of those guys to fill in to get you some points if he don't play. So Debo's going to be a game time decision. Matt thinks he might play. I don't think he'll play. So he missed all of Thursday, and he only practiced for the back half of Friday. They said he just did like individual work. So
Right.
we'll see. We'll see what happens. But Jerry Jeudy, they say he's moving in the right direction. That's the quote. So, he could play this week. You might have him out there for your team if you feel like starting him on his first week back, which I don't know if I would recommend. But Jameson Williams, he's been out all year, the very talented rookie from Alabama. He's activated and he's gonna debut
Yes,
on
sir.
Sunday. I don't know how many snaps he'll get, but I would imagine that they're gonna Get him out there for probably a quarter of the snaps, half of the snaps, something like that. You got anything to say about that one, Matt?
Yeah, I got to. I cannot wait to see Jameson Williams play because it's like I say, I've said it a few times. I was deep in that rookie draft, and Jameson Williams getting hurt in the national championship really cost him a few spots. Like this dude was definitely going to go up there. I for sure think if you had like the 108, 109 pick, if you can get a good value pick, Jameson Williams, he was the guy you wanted to get because this dude was just as talented as any of the other guys. So I can't wait to see him play. I mean, this year is like whatever. I just want to see him get out on the field this year. Next year, though, it's like, damn, let's see what he's got. I mean, him and Amon Rob with Jared Goff. Let's just see what it's, let's just see what it got. DeAndre Swift, that offense right there sounds pretty good if you ask me. I'm not hating on Jared Goff. I don't think he's the best, but damn, you got weapons like that. We'll see what you got in the young man, Jameson Williams. I can't wait to see this shit, to be honest.
My question for y'all is, can Jared Goff, if Detroit, what direction should Detroit take? Should they just go draft a whole bunch of defensive players? Do you think that Detroit has the offense to be in the playoffs for the next couple of years as long as they fix that defense?
Look, my opinion on quarterbacks is this. They get way too much credit and way too much blame. So my thing is like, you could win a Super Bowl with Jared Goff, is what I'm saying. The Rams went to the Super Bowl with Jared Goff. Everybody wants to blame him and act like, oh, well, he can't do this. He can't. The dude was in the Super Bowl. You can definitely win a Super Bowl with a guy like Jared Goff. I'm not saying Detroit's going to get to that point. I'm saying just ride it out with Detroit. Build your team, build it up, and then eventually go get you a quarterback. There's a lot of situations where I'd say go get you a quarterback because the quarterback's the most important position in all the sports. Let him build, let him grow. But you got you a veteran quarterback. He's played a Super Bowl. He's played in the playoffs. Let's just ride it out with him, and let's just build the squad. Let's just build the defense. Let's build the O-line, build it around, and then when you're ready to go get that quarterback, go get your quarterback in maybe 2024 or something like that, and ride it out like that. What you think?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with all that. And one thing you said, about Detroit that I don't know if people realize is their offensive line is very, very good already.
Right.
They got a lot of pieces on the offensive end to contend if they wanted to. Their defense is just really bad, and hopefully, they'll draft defense and move on from there. But I'm gonna continue on with the news right here. Leonard Fournette questionable to play on Monday. That kind of hurts if you got Fournette and they're playing on Monday night. He practiced in full all week. You usually don't see somebody that practiced in full every single day be listed as questionable, but he is. My thoughts is that he's probably going to play. That's a must-win game for the Bucks.
I agree with that because I believe if you're practicing full all week and you're questionable, that's just like for the NFL purposes because I know Jalen Warren for the Pittsburgh Steelers, he's questionable. The dude's practicing full all week. I think that dude's playing. Yeah. So,
but
if you're practicing, is Najee really playing?
Yeah, Najee is playing. That's a piece of news too. Yeah, Najee is active. He will be in.
Shit, I don't give a fuck about his bum ass. That dude is hurt. I think he's been hurt since week 1, since before week 1. I think this dude's banged up. I wish they would just rest this guy, but hey, real quick, dynasty-wise, I think Najee's a buy low candidate. If you could sneak, a little trade with a frustrated owner on Najee, why don't you go in there and slide you a little trade for Najee? Because I think next year he'll be ready. He'll get a whole year to get healthy.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I got Najee in my dynasty league, and
I'd hold.
I'm not trying to sell. If you find an owner that is trying to sell and is frustrated with Najee, then for sure I feel like he's definitely a buy low. But as you were saying, Najee's a bum ass. They do play Atlanta this weekend, so
Ooh, he might go off.
I'd
start him. Shit, honestly, I'd start Jalen Warren just because I ain't gonna say start him I put him as my top 2 running backs. Like if you got a flex spot and you got a question and you don't know what to do, I might would slide Jalen Warren in there. Najee's hurt and shit like that. Dude, they're playing against the Falcons, and if you got a lot of questions, you don't know what to do. I might would just slide him on in there and just see what happens. You never know. The dude might get a lot of passing work. He'll go off against the Falcons.
Yeah. Before I agree with that, I mean, Benny Snell had a pretty good week last week, but Benny Snell is not a good running back.
But I'll say McFarland to me looked solid. He looked okay.
Yeah, and he's the one that don't. He's not going to ever see the field. I don't feel they
Right.
had him last year too, and he looked good, and he never seen the field. But going on with these practice reports right here, man, we got Matthew Stafford got placed on injured reserve. We all saw that coming, right? Pretty much.
Right.
You think so? Yeah.
They shut it down, man.
They are shutting this shit down. Like you said, Jalen Warren's questionable. Benny Snell was cleared. Jamar Chase is questionable. He practiced in full on Friday. You know, that one's tough with me. I have no idea. I can't really tell y'all. They play at 425 too. I don't know. I don't know if he's playing or not.
Yeah, I'm with you, Kraft. Like, that's one of them where it's like, if the dude's playing, I feel like you're playing. There's not many flex players that you're going to be like, oh, he's better than Jamar Chase. But it's like, he's playing at 425 too, so it sucks. So, what you think, C Swizzy?
Yeah, I mean, I always hate whenever I got somebody playing at 425, and then I got nobody to replace that with, or I have to play somebody suspect as all hell at the last second.
Yeah, it's tough. But I'll say this: if you think Jamar's gonna play, if you really believe that in heart of hearts, he's been practicing, put him in, because you're not gonna get it. You know, playing against the Chiefs. In my opinion, he's playing. But I've had that opinion about a few players like Debo too, and Debo ain't even playing, didn't even practice, and I feel like he's gonna play. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
I say play Jamar. He's actually practicing.
Yeah. And what I got to give to the people, like I said earlier, if you're counting on these players to play, and for some reason they don't, go look on your free agency. DeAndre Carter for the Chargers. He's a good fill-in. Mike Williams is going to be out, so it's going to be Keenan Allen, Joshua Palmer, DeAndre Carter. And, you know, Paris Campbell plays Sunday night for the Colts. It's not the best play in the world, but if you're desperate because your team's injured, the Cowboys are going to be getting after Matt Ryan, and Paris Campbell is the dump-off guy. So he could get a decent amount of targets if you had to throw him in. And like I said, Juwan Jennings for San Fran if Debo's out. That would probably be my third one I would want. I would want Paris Campbell or Carter over him. But, you know, if you have to, you got to.
Yeah.
Y'all got any other names that, you know, Tampa Bay, New Orleans plays? I wouldn't screw with no New Orleans receivers or Tampa Bay, Russell Gage, Julio.
Olave.
I wouldn't screw with none of that.
I'd screw with Olave.
Well, Olave ain't going to be on your waivers, so he ain't going to be on free agency.
Agreed. Yeah. I ain't screwing. I think earlier what you were saying about maybe playing if Debo's out, I wouldn't mind snagging Juwan Jennings. He's solid. I think he's got good.
Oh, yeah.
Jennings.
My bad. I thought you were talking about Juwan Johnson for New Orleans.
Or whatever his name is for Cincinnati. He's actually a good wide receiver, and he's actually got talent. Throw him on out there if Debo's not playing. I've seen him put up some decent numbers, so throw him on out there. Just, you know, desperate situations. I mean, what else could you do? It's not too many other situations you can do, so throw him on out there.
Yep. And I got a couple quick ones right here. Like I said, Mike Williams ruled out. Brandon Cooks ruled out. Christian McCaffrey is not on the injury report. He should be good to go. Trent Williams, the star left tackle for San Fran, he got hurt in practice the other day, and he's questionable. That might affect, you know, a good amount for Christian McCaffrey in that game. And Raheem Mostert was cleared to play, so it'll be him and Jeff Wilson against San Fran. And Justin Fields will be back and starting, and John Wolford for the Rams will be in. And, well, shoot, I thought I was done. Got more. J.K. Dobbins is out. And Josh Jacobs, I think he's on the right side of questionable. I think he'll be out there. But, that's me saying I'm not 80% sure he'll probably play. And that's about it for the news.
Oh.
Agreed. So, I guess we're gonna hop into some of these, like, who was the best running back, who was the best wide receiver. We're gonna try to give y'all some great values because the playoffs are here. Playoffs. This is week 13 coming up. Playoffs most likely for most of y'all starting 15, 16, 17. We're down to the end of the year. Some of y'all are still fighting for those playoff. Some of y'all are just, fighting for those playoff spots. So, yeah. So, Craftman, if you want to give us a who was the best, what y'all want to start with? Running backs or quarterbacks, or what y'all want to start with, Craft?
You the host, man. Let's just roll. What you want to talk about the most?
Well, shit. We'll just start with. Hell,
Let's get it.
Let's just start with the quarterbacks, man. Who was the best quarterback? We'll give a bust quarterback, and then we'll give we'll give everything. We'll give who the best quarterback was, who was a bust quarterback, who was the best value, all that good stuff. Craft man, if you don't mind, will you just lead us off?
Yeah, the best quarterback is Patrick Mahomes. It was Josh Allen to start the year. If y'all, Chris, if you got anything to disagree with that one, I really think Mahomes he's number one on the year, and he was getting drafted later than Josh Allen in our redraft leagues. Not in Dynasty. Josh Allen was number one overall pick, and Mahomes was probably number 2 or 3, depending on what you're at. But, the best quarterback is Mahomes, in my opinion, and I think it's going to stay that way for the rest of the year. You got anything to disagree with on that one?
No, the Bills have just been making a lot of mistakes lately in some of these games. I know they eventually fixed it in the game, but Josh Allen's got his targets and all out there. Patrick Mahomes is going out there and making this offensive, all his offensive players look like superstars, and he really don't have any other big name out there other than Travis Kelce. So
Man,
I can definitely see where you're going at, especially and in fantasy. I do think that that's going to be better for you to have Patrick Mahomes.
Look, fellas, while we're talking about Patrick Mahomes, I was thinking about it riding home from work today. I was like, I think if I'm doing a dynasty ranking today, and I know we're talking a lot about redraft for redraft purposes, but I was like, if I'm doing a dynasty ranking today, man, I think I'm leaning Patrick Mahomes over whatchamacallit, over that dude Josh Allen, because it's like this dude Patrick Mahomes, I was kind of fading this guy. This dude's going out there with a running back every week. I'm saying this running back room is suspect. Every week I'm saying this wide receiver room is suspect. What does Patrick Mahomes do? This dude's going out there and just killing shit. So I'm just like, Josh Allen's got Stephon Diggs. Josh Allen's got Gabe Davis. He's got McKenzie and all them. Stephon Diggs is good. I don't know how I feel about Gabe Davis right now, but it's like, and granted, I'll give Josh Allen, I think he could be a little banged up with that elbow. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, this dude, Patrick Mahomes, like, I need to sit down and just respect this man for what he's doing. This dude is the best. I think he's been the best all year. I would love to have Patrick Mahomes on my squad.
Yeah, and I'm going to put y'all to a little trivia test right here. He's third in the league in passing attempts with 442 passing attempts this year. Do y'all think y'all can name the top 2? Chris, I'm going to let you go first. Who's leading the league, the top 2 players in passing attempts without looking at your phone?
I've got it pulled up right here in front of me.
I'm going to say maybe Tua. See one
he
of
missed
them?
a couple games, injuries, remember?
Oh, damn, that's right. That's tough, Kraft. Go ahead and just spit it on out for us then.
Well, Tom Brady's leading the league in passing attempts with 470, and number 2 is Herbert at 463 passing attempts this year. And yeah, I mean, Patrick Mahomes, like you said, he just goes out there with whoever. He's leading the league in yards. He's just incredible. He's the best quarterback, especially in redraft this year. And Josh Allen is very close, but where you drafted these guys at, you'd rather have picked Mahomes.
Right. Yep, I'm with you because I don't even think Mahomes was going number 1. He wasn't even going as your top quarterback in most redraft leagues. I know. Hell, Kraft, I was putting motherfucking Herbert ahead of Mahomes this year, and I definitely regret that. I do think, like if next year, hell, who knows how next year is going to look and what teams are going to look like and stuff, but I'm definitely done underestimating Mahomes. To me, this dude is definitely the guy. He's definitely the man. You know, how could you not think like, oh, this dude just lost Tyreek Hill. He's gonna have a little bit of a drop off, but heck, I'm done with that. I ain't gonna be sitting there acting like that anymore. So Mahomes is definitely the baddest man, in my opinion.
Yep, he is. And if we learn one lesson on this year is that if he comes out next year and say Juju leaves, Scantling leaves, just don't worry about it. As long as Kelsey's there, you know, if Kelsey leaves, we might have a talk. We might have to have a serious sit down on our dynasty rankings. But if Kelsey's there and they just throw a bunch of no names out there at wide receiver, Patrick Mahomes, I'm just not going to doubt him anymore.
Right. Chris, you got anything you want to say more about old Patty Mahomes, or?
No, I just my thing is why I would go with Patrick over Allen is it just Allen, he is a damn good quarterback, but he gives the ball away a lot. I mean, he's got 3 more interceptions on the year than Mahomes. Mahomes just seems to be a bit more efficient out there.
Yeah.
But Josh Allen gives you that big, that explosive rushing ability, But I like Patrick Mahomes because he's throwing these passes. What you got to say, Crap?
Yeah, one thing I want to say about Allen, since we ain't going to talk about it much, is just that ever since his elbow injury, they've been running the ball a lot more. And that's all I wanted to say. You know, Singletary, James Cook, they were – even Hines was involved last game, and I think that, they are consciously trying to do that to protect his elbow, even though he's still out there throwing 50-mile-an-hour passes. I think they're trying to protect him a little more, and it's hurting his fantasy value. But that's all I got to say about Allen.
Yeah, and just real quick, I was going to say, Allen, he has turned the ball over just a little bit more than he has in the past. And that's like something I used to say about Patrick Mahomes. He's always out there doing crazy stuff and taking risks and stuff. But this year, I don't even feel like that. So it's like I said, Allen's turning the ball over a little bit more than Mahomes. I don't know, man. It's just time to put some respect on guys like Mahomes' name because that dude is the man. He is the best quarterback in the league. If you're looking from a football perspective, he is doing more with less than right now. I know he's got Travis Kelce and stuff like that, but that dude's going off, man. There ain't no doubt about it.
Yep. He's a unicorn, man.
That's right. All right, so let's move on to. You want to move on to the running back position, Kraft?
Let's roll with it. See what Chris got to say about this one, though. See what he got going on down there. Ask Craig too.
Craig, got anything to say, Craig? All right, then. Well, that's all you got to say. Well, then what you call it? We'll just talk about the best running back on the year. And look, when I look at league leaders, number 1 and number 2 are clearly. Let me just look real quick. It's clearly Eckler. Shoot, I don't know, man. I just clicked in the wrong thing. There's no way I got what I'm saying. Eckler and Jacobs. Chris is a Jacobs owner. me before the year, this is what I was saying about Jacobs. Jacobs' 5th-year option wasn't picked up, so I was like, for redraft purposes, I was like, they're gonna run the fuck out of Josh Jacobs. They're gonna just run him up and dish him on out. And to me, I feel like for the most part, that's been on track. I mean, Josh Jacobs is definitely having a year better than other years. Then from a dynasty perspective, I'm like, yo, let's sell Josh Jacobs if we can. This dude, even before this year when he was going off, Josh Jacobs was a good running back all those other years. I would have still said, hey, let's sell Josh Jacobs. Let's see what we can get. Now this year, I'm like, holy shit. I mean, this dude's like going the fuck off. Either you need to either let him carry you to the championship, or you need to sell this dude for a haul and try to get whatever you can for him. I still feel the same, and that's from the dynasty perspective. Craft for Josh Jacobs. I mean, where was this dude going in the draft? I mean, this dude was going. Oh man, I'm watching Clemson. We about to do a pick. We doing a pick six from the goal line. Let's go, like 100-yard touchdown. Let's go. But yeah. With that said, Josh Jacobs, from a redraft perspective, where was this guy going in redraft leagues? It was definitely in that little dead zone with all those running backs. What you say, Kraft?
Yeah, when we were doing our redraft draft and stuff, he was going ADP number 48. So that was about in the 4th round. And when we're talking about our value picks later, that was a fucking value. Josh Jacobs he might have been the best value in the whole entire draft. You got the running back 2, the running back 1 in half PPR, and you got him in maybe the 5th round. So
yeah,
you're definitely, licking your chops right now, feeling good about yourself if you got Josh Jacobs in redraft. And Eckler, we're talking about him being the wide receiver. I mean, the running back 1 in PPR. This man has 80 receptions on the year compared to Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs has 40. But if you do the rushing yards, it's incredible with Eckler when I look at his stats. And Eckler has 554 rushing yards on the year. That is it. Josh Jacobs has 1,159 rushing yards, and Austin Eckler is still in the lead for PPR leagues right now, and still on Josh Jacobs' heels by only 7 points in half PPR. So
right.
Yeah.
Man, this dude Eckler, man. I'm telling you, man, I definitely got to check myself when it comes to the age of these guys. I was looking at these age of these guys like Henry and Eckler and probably a few more of these guys, and I was like, oh, man, I don't even want these guys. Like, it is what it is. Eckler's been injured in the past. I was like, no way this dude's about to go off. Man, I might want Eckler next year. I mean, damn. I mean, this dude Eckler's going off in PPR leagues. It's like it don't even matter what his rushing stats are. It's like this dude's gonna catch the ball anyways a bunch of times. So Eckler's the man. As far as Josh Jacobs goes, I was definitely wrong about Josh Jacobs, other than the fact that I said it was going to use him up. But even I couldn't guess this dude was going to go up there and be in like the top 5 and stuff. This dude's top 2. This dude's basically been the best running back all year for a team that ain't shit. So it's like, shoot, I don't know, man. Chris, man, you a Josh Jacobs guy. In fact, I'll just put a little dynasty question in front of you, Chris. You like kind of like one of those guys like in the 4, 5, 6 range. But whenever like Zamil was making a trade with me, man, Clemson just went for 2 and got it. We balling. What you call it? Josh Jacobs I made a trade with Zamil, and he was like, do you want Chris's first round or do you want Dunk's first round? I was like, I want Dunk's first round. Because Chris's team is fucking hot as fuck right now. This dude's got Josh Jacobs carrying his ass. My opinion is Chris is like, what you gonna do, man? You gonna try to ride it out? You gonna try to win it all this year with a guy like Josh Jacobs? Or our trade deadline's coming up. Are you looking to sell a guy like Josh Jacobs? Because there's never going to be a better time to sell a guy like Josh Jacobs than now. So it's like, what you say, Chris?
I mean, I'll sell him, but I'm wanting a haul
Yeah,
for Josh Jacobs right now. Because even from a dynasty perspective, even if I hold on to him, he's only 24. And to put that in perspective, you just said you'd want Austin Eckler next year.
right.
He'd be 28 next year. This dude is already 3 years younger than Austin Eckler. He's gonna have, he's got a lot more longer to play. So, I mean, Josh Jacobs carries a lot of value. His uncertainty might turn you off of him because we don't know where he's going to be next year.
I got a good question for y'all.
Go for it.
Say Josh Jacobs, say he signs with the Raiders next year, just re-signs with the Raiders next year. Josh Jacobs is 24. Jonathan Taylor's 23. Who we ranking higher in the dynasty
Look,
ranking?
I'm gonna rank Jonathan Taylor higher just because I think the talent's higher and everything. But Josh Jacobs, if he's with Vegas next year, I'm like, what? What if he's with Vegas for like? What if Vegas sucks it up and they just sign Josh Jacobs for the next few years?
They suck now. They suck now, and he's the RB2.
I mean, like, what if they just like are like, okay, we was wrong about Josh Jacobs, and then they're like, okay, we're gonna bring it back for the next few years. I mean, this dude is soaring up your dynasty rankings. He's got to. I mean, he's got to soar up them. My question is, what about franchising him? Could they franchise Josh Jacobs? I mean, this dude could be back. I mean, I just cannot believe that this dude would be this good this year and then him not be on the team. He was just this good on. I mean, this dude is balling out. There's no way they could just let this guy walk away for nothing, man. I mean, you got to try to sign this dude and trade him at the very least. I know that's like NBA talk, but it's like, this dude is the RB2 this year and half PPR. Didn't you say he's the RB1? I mean, I don't know.
RB1 and half point, yeah.
So it's like,
I've gotten a bunch of trade offers for Jacobs, and I'll be honest, I haven't gotten one that I don't feel like these people understand his value. You just a minute ago said that, Jonathan Taylor's a year younger than him. You said you still rank him ahead of him, but
right,
they're close. I mean,
yeah.
and he's
my
only
thing
1 year older than him.
The only thing is my thing with Jonathan Taylor is like I just can't disrespect him just yet. I know they had a down year in the Colts. I
think that just has to do with the organization.
Right, exactly. Like I can move him down from number 1 overall, but I cannot move him down from being a tier 1 guy, especially when I watch him. Josh Jacobs though, it's like holy fuck. This dude, I mean, this dude, he was already good, but now the year that this dude is having, man,
I will
say, man.
For regardless of if you have him in a redraft or in dynasty, if you're looking, if you're viewing him as this big league winner, let me tell y'all his schedule because it's not that favorable going into these playoffs. He's going to have to. I mean, he's going to have to prove that he deserves that number 2 running back spot. He's got to play the Rams. He's getting the Chargers this week, which will be an easy one. But going into that playoff push, he's getting the Rams. He's got to play New England's defense. He gets Pittsburgh. Then he's got to play the 49ers defense. And by that time,
Well, shoot, Chris, let me just run it back to you then from a dynasty question. What does it take to get Josh Jacobs off your squad? Like, let's just say
I'm gonna have to get a young good guy and at least a first or a few seconds. I mean, I can't come off of him, and nobody's even offered me that.
Javonte in the first.
Javonte in the first.
I'm gonna be honest, Kraft. I don't know if I'd do that. I would want Javonte at first, and then toss a second on top of that. And then maybe but listen, I love Javonte, but it's like we don't know what this dude's gonna be.
Yeah, if you do Javonte at first and throw a second, I feel like I would do that shit instantly. What you just said, that other one I would think about a little bit because I mean we've seen the way that Broncos offense looks, and when Javonte comes back, it's just gonna be like give it to him and we'll let Russ try to do something.
I got a good one for you here. Would you take, like you said, you're in like 5th or 6th place, Breece Hall in a first?
For Jacobs?
for Jacobs. If you're in that competing, he might be competing this year. If he does that trade, he is not competing this year.
Man, I'm sorry, man. There's no way, man. I could never trade. If somebody offers me just Brees Hall for Josh Jacobs straight up, I'm definitely taking Brees Hall.
Even if you're competing this year.
And see, I'm glad that you said that because I was actually thinking about sending that trade today. Because I saw, I've been thinking about either moving Jacobs or McCaffrey right before this week and trying to get a massive ass haul for it. But if I go Brees Hall, I'm done. I ain't competing. And I can, and when I tell y'all, like I'm the 4th seed now, but my team jumped up. I'm the got the 3rd highest points in the league. I'm literally scoring like 180 every week these past 3-4 weeks. I have a chance to win this shit. I think I'm gonna upset some of these dudes.
You need to hold on to Jacobs, man. You got to compete. You can't go through. I mean, I'm gonna hear yours in a second, Matt. But we've always said on here, if you have a chance to win it, try to win it.
Yeah. I agree.
I think all these people in Dynasty Leagues get, they get kind of like wound up with, oh, it's Dynasty, I'll win eventually. To start it, let me tell y'all something. To start a Dynasty, you got to win one first.
Shit, listen, I'm with y'all 1,000%. If you in it, you got to go for it. I think this year for my team, with my team being so banged up, it's like, I'm just going to do my best to build my roster for next year because I'm way too beat up. There's no way I'm beating these top dogs. Like, I know Chris is looking and like, yo, if I get matched up with Matt, I'm about to beat Matt and I'm going next. I know, like, crap, I'll put it like this. I'm 3rd in my Dynasty League. I'm probably going to finish 3rd in my Dynasty League. There's like, all these people below me are like, damn, if I can get matched up with Matt, I'm going to the next round, and I know they believe it. And the thing is, they're right. So
you're projected to score like 100 points or like 112 points that first week.
I'm so beat up that I'm going against a dude tanking right now, and I'm projected to lose versus that guy. So it's like, when the playoffs come, maybe I can make something happen. But if I'm the guys like Chris, I'm like, yo, I'm keeping Josh Jacobs. And if I get matched up with Matt, I'm going to the Final Four no matter what. So
I thought about trying to make a move for Kenneth Walker using Josh Jacobs because I felt like that could have been a good move.
Yeah, and Kenneth Walker, like you said about the playoffs with Josh Jacobs being...
He's got a good schedule for the playoff. He's got a really favorable schedule.
I'm looking up right now.
Since we're talking running backs, I'll give y'all another one in redraft. Hell, as much as the team sucks, Dante Foreman for the Panthers is going to get a lot of volume.
Hell,
hold on, bro. Look, hold on. Let me pull up his schedule. I'll let you know his schedule. You're going to see what I mean.
While Chris is pulling up that schedule, let me ask you this, Kraft. If a dude offers you, if Chris is like offering Josh Jacobs for,
I got you go get in my dynasty too.
Man, what if? I wish Akil was here right now and we could just talk this out. Josh Jacobs for Kenneth Walker. I mean, damn, what would you do? What do you do?
I'd take it and run. I would take Kenneth Walker and run. I've always been consistent on this podcast saying I want the Seahawks running back. You have nobody. Kenneth Walker is a rookie. He's got 3 more years with Seattle. Who, in my opinion, they can't get no worse. They're playing a whole. Then they can't. They can only get better. Is what I'm saying. They're not bad.
Yeah.
But they drafted a whole bunch of rookies on defense. They're showing out. Geno Smith looks good. If they do go and draft another quarterback, he's going to have to beat out Geno Smith. So you're still flatlining at Geno. And then if that quarterback they draft is even better, then, you got a good team. So you got Kenneth Walker with the Seahawks for the next 3 years, at least. Josh Jacobs, you have no idea what his future is. He might go to the Patriots. Oh, my God. Y'all imagine if he went to the Patriots?
I mean, he could.
Oh, man. That's just a tough question for literally a guy like Chris. Literally a player like Chris. Because Chris has got Josh Jacobs. Chris's team is as hot as any team. Definitely one of the top 2 hottest teams because I think the Mills kind of falling off a little bit, and Will's team is hot. and Chris's team is hot too. So it's like, damn. Do you use Josh Jacobs to go get you somebody like Kenneth Walker, who me and Kraft are both high on? Like, I think Kenneth Walker has an argument to be the RB1. He's definitely a tier 1 guy, in my opinion. I don't know, Chris. What you say, man? Just give your final opinions on that, and then we'll move to the wide receiver.
I thought about sending that trade today. I haven't talked to the person or anything like that, but I think that'd be intriguing
Yeah,
for sure
nice.
to see what he would think. But
I think you
I
could
got
offer
that schedule
more,
put up for Foreman. They get to see the thing about 1 week. They get to play the Lions, so you can get you just plug him in as a flex play, and you'll be all right. James Conner don't really have that good of a schedule either for the playoff.
The Lions have been decently strong against running backs in the last couple weeks, though. But yeah, about the Kenneth Walker, Josh Jacobs thing, man. I would even offer Jacobs and like a second to get Kenneth Walker. Even if it was a late first, I think I would consider it.
Oh,
Going to
man.
get Walker.
I don't know,
I'm gonna
man.
just try because
I don't
to be
know.
honest, I know I'm not gonna get it, but at first I'm trying to get Walker and something because I'm trying to sell off what Josh Jacobs has done this season. You know.
Yeah. I'm saying
Man.
worst case scenario if you had to make the trade, but yeah, don't ever go. This is for everybody out there. Don't ever go with your strongest offer first.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I don't ever neither, man. I'm always off. Well, hey, it's so funny doing this podcast. It's like, if these guys just listen to what I'm saying, it's like, they know what I'm thinking at all times. It's like, I'm with you. I'm definitely sending a little bit lower than what I'm going to really willing to go up with.
Kenneth Walker's owner in our dynasty league. He's got 4 first-round picks. I mean,
right?
You know, and he's
willing
got the
to
guaranteed, and he's got the guaranteed number 1. I don't want that number 1 pick. Maybe throw me one of them later picks with it. Shit.
Man, Chris, man, you sitting there. It's so funny, Chris, man. You could go for the win this year, or you could just get you something nicer next year. It's funny how it works out like that.
But my thing is, if I do, instead of if removing Brees Hall from the equation and maybe going after Kenneth Walker, I still can contend with what Kenneth Walker's been putting up.
I really
think
Kenneth Walker
because I got
Jacobs.
Christian McCaffrey, who's got a great playoff schedule ahead of him going in. You know.
Yeah. It might not be that different. Kenneth Walker might match Josh Jacobs for the rest of this year.
Yeah.
Right.
Then you get longevity too. So
yeah, I mean, Kenneth Walker definitely passes the eye test for me, man. When I see that dude play, I'm like, damn, that dude's good. And I know, like, whenever I was watching the rookie draft stuff, people was always like, well, he didn't catch the ball in college. Like, that shit don't matter to me. Like, when I see shit like that, I'm just like, fuck out of here. Just because you didn't catch it in college don't mean you can't catch it. Like, the dude can catch it. He's a fine athlete, but I want the lead back for the Seattle Seahawks no matter what. I'm just saying that as a fact. But shoot, man.
They pick one guy and roll.
Right. If it's just how it is. But shoot, man, crap, let's just move on to damn wide receivers, I guess. On to the next.
Yeah. Then when we talk about these receivers, I'm not just reading the number 1 on the year. I'm thinking about we still got a couple weeks left, and I'm thinking about who might be the best wide receiver on the year. And I'm going to stick with I think Diggs is safe. We might have an argument on this one, but best wide receiver this year is Stephon Diggs, in my opinion. He's a wide receiver 1 right now. There's arguments to be had on this one. I want to hear y'all's input on this one. You got JJ, you got Tyreek Hill. Cooper Kupp's injured, so
that was gonna be my debate. I was gonna slide on Tyreek Hill up in that bitch because this dude, man. But here's the thing, like Stephon Diggs, I ain't go back away from Stephon Diggs. My brother told me today he's a Stephon Diggs holder in the Dynasty League. He's not competing, but like Kraft, check this out. This dude has the 3rd most points in our Dynasty League. This dude's in like 8th or 9th place. So it's like, I feel bad for you. But people are like sending stuff for Stephon Diggs, and I'm like, man, there's no way I'm trading Stephon Diggs. I mean, this dude's got 3 to 4 years left in him. I feel like he just signed the contract. He doesn't look like he's backing off to me. The only guy I would say I'm just like I throw up in that conversation has got to be Tyreek Hill. I feel like. I mean, I like Justin Jefferson. This dude Tyreek Hill though has just been unbelievable, and he's playing with Jalen Waddle and Tua, who I love Tua, but it ain't like he's playing with Patty Mahomes anymore. This guy's like this dude is balling out. I think it's either Stephon Diggs or it's either Tua, and that's just my opinion of it. What you think?
That ain't Tua. You mean you mean old
I,
Tyreek?
oh, my bad. Tyreek Hill, my fault.
I do
Yeah.
that. I go to listen to our podcast afterwards. I was like, I just said Tua was a fucking receiver there, but I've been doing that shit all the time, and nobody corrects me. And I'm like, I'm gonna correct Matt on this one. But Chris, you know, it's super close with these three guys. So I want to hear what you got to say about it.
Man, it's so close right there. I mean, you got Justin Jefferson at 244 and Stephon Diggs at 270 in full PPR. Tyreek Hill's at 236, but I mean, the talent is just there for all three of these dudes. The opportunity is just there for all three of these guys. I'm gonna go with Justin Jefferson though at number one, just because I'm gonna look at this from a dynasty perspective right now, and I'm gonna just go Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Justin
Yeah,
Jefferson. Holy.
JJ's. Yeah. Go ahead,
My
Matt.
thing is, my thing is with Justin Jefferson is it's like there's been definitely a huge debate between is it Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase, and not that it's Jamar Chase's fault. This dude's been hurt, but this dude Justin Jefferson has just been going the fuck off, and he's out there snagging Odell catches and shit like that. It's like to me, there's just like a little gap in a dynasty perspective between 1 and 2 now. Like I definitely view Justin Jefferson ahead of Jamar Chase now. And I know Jamar Chase has Joe Burrow, but it's like Kirk Cousins ain't bad, and Kirk Cousins is definitely going to be there for the next few years.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Justin Jefferson, but that's from a dynasty perspective too. So it's like, I'll take JJ. In fact, I'll put it like this, Kraft. I'll do a family league, a dynasty family league, did a startup draft. I had the 101 and a startup dynasty draft. I took Justin Jefferson at the 101 and didn't really
Yeah.
feel bad about it at all. So I feel pretty
That's a
comfortable
single
with that.
QB though, I'm sure, right?
Single, yeah,
QB.
single QB, of course. Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense. I would, dynasty perspective, of course, JJ's number one, but as redraft, if I had to give an award just to the best receiver on the year at the end of the year, I'm thinking I'm going to stick with Diggs, and
Yep. I can't disagree with you, man. I'm with you the whole way. I would just throw Tyreek Hill up in the mix. I was definitely wrong about Tyreek Hill. That's another L that I took this year. It was definitely Tyreek Hill. Stephon Diggs, though, no way I'm selling Stephon Diggs right now. I mean, this dude's definitely got 2 to 3 more years left in him, I feel like.
While we're on that subject, I want to ask y'all what in Dynasty. Give me, Chris, I want to hear from you first, but what is the age where you're trying to sell running backs, and what is the age where you have to sell receivers? Because, in my opinion, you want to get your players, you want to sell your players a year too early, than hold on too long. So,
Yeah.
at what age are you looking at running backs? What year are you looking at receivers? Because Diggs is he's almost 30 years old right now. So,
Yeah. No, running backs. I'm saying I think that a good year to start looking at running backs, especially nowadays in the NFL, is like 28, 29. Because you see Eckler's doing all this at 27. Kamara is 27. They'll be 28 going into next year. Then that's going to start forcing a lot of these teams to think, well, is it time for us to draft somebody that's going to prepare us for the future and whatnot?
They already have. Some of them teams
And you
already
got to
have.
think, and that happens. And you got to also think that running back is not one of them protected positions in the NFL. The running backs take more abuse than most people in the league. That's why they don't play. Like people like Raheem Mostert or Frank Gore, those people that play like that long, they ain't running backs that play that long anymore and play it at a high level. Receiver, I've been looking at it. The analysis that I've came up with is like 31. If you sell right before they hit 31, I think you can be good. Because receivers can just play so much longer. And like you said, I mean, Cooper Kupp was what? He'll be 32 or something going into next year. And last year at 30, he was the number one wide receiver.
Yeah.
He was the number one this year. He got hurt.
DeAndre Hopkins, I believe he's in his 30s as well. I know.
Yeah.
He's still getting targets in volume. Keenan Allen is up there. He'll be 32.
All right.
I mean, and these people are still performing.
Wow, Chris says that. I believe, yeah, he's right. Like, if Cup, I definitely feel good with playing Cup for another year. Even with the Rams shutting it down, it's like, Cup next year, I feel okay with it. I think the only one I feel iffy about is Keenan Allen. I don't know if I'd feel okay throwing Keenan Allen in for another year. What was the other? D-Hop? I would definitely feel okay having D-Hop on my team for another year. So, yeah,
Devontae.
man, but Devontae, yeah, man, shit, man. And I was fading Devontae too. I mean, I feel like I was kind of right about Devontae, but yeah, I mean, all those guys, like, I think my thing is with those guys and like the running backs and stuff is like, you're talking about you want to sell them a year too early. I would have sold any of those guys, like Kamara, Aaron Jones, shit, Derrick Henry too, Eckler too. I would have been willing to sell any of those guys if I could have got the right price for them. I'm talking about you at least got to get a first round and stuff like that. But when I talk about first round, like me personally, I'm drafting running backs like crazy anyway. So I don't know. A lot of people don't think like me. I'm always going for running backs no matter what. So I'm willing to pay for a wide receiver. I'm willing to draft for a running back and then sell him off. That's how I feel about it.
Well, let's talk early about this because it's going to be a topic of discussion next year. Derrick Henry, with his workload, they talk about it every fucking year. He's going to be 29 years old. They're going to be saying, all these experts are going to be saying, he's too old, his workload. Are you drafting Derrick Henry in redraft in the top 5 picks next year?
Man, Kraft, throw that to me, motherfucker. Throw that to me, man. I'm ready for this question right here. I can't fucking wait. I'm drafting Derrick Henry at least at the 102. I'm just being honest, man. Fuck it. I've been wrong about this dude for so long. If I'm just wrong about him next year, I don't give a fuck. I'm drafting this dude at least at the 102. I don't even know who I would draft at the 101. This dude, Derrick Henry, I said fade him this year. I was saying, if you really think, but I will say this, I did say, Derrick Henry, if you really think he's going to be the same guy that he's been, draft him at the 102. This dude has definitely been good as fuck. I would have definitely. In fact, this dude's been better than Jonathan Taylor. I wish I'd have drafted Derrick Henry over Jonathan Taylor right now. That's how I feel about this shit. So, Derrick Henry, I'm definitely taking him. I don't even feel. I don't even know. This dude might could go a couple more years for all. I'm just going to just keep drafting him high until he just fucking falls off, man. That's how I see it now.
He's different. He's a different.
He is.
Yeah. He's a different breed. I mean, Chris, what do you think? In a redraft league next year, say Henry finishes this year strong, don't get injured. Are you drafting him in the top 3, top 5 picks next year in redraft?
Yeah, I'm definitely drafting him. I always had a lot of questions about whether or not he could play this long. Can his body take the abuse? Derrick Henry has proven that his body can take the abuse. I mean, he's abusing people out there. I mean, you know, it just runs people flat over, and he's 29 years old. I mean, it's crazy. But I definitely, even in Dynasty, I feel like you could trust him for another year for sure. And then we'll see. We'll have, you know, next year when we come on the podcast and we're talking about it, we'll go back and we'll remember and we'll say, you know, like, oh, maybe this was the decline right here. But I think he's got one more year at least that he can be trusted.
Where do you stand, Kraft, man? You're the redraft guy. Let's say next year you got, say, the 102 or the 103. Are you willing to take Derrick Henry that high?
It'd have to be. I have to look at it with who's there with the way this year finishes, but I can't. You know, with the leaders this year, Eckler, Jacobs, there's no way I'm drafting Jacobs over Henry next year. Saquon, Nick Chubb, blah blah blah, Joe Mixon. I mean, McCaffrey. If McCaffrey finishes this year healthy and strong, it's gonna be and playing with Sam Fran, he might be the 101 next year. But yeah, in the top three, I would love to say it, and I hope it adds up to when we do our rankings next year. Derrick Henry should go in the top three, and I would draft him in the top three as long as he is healthy coming into the year.
Yeah. That's just, I don't know, man. That's just tough about that guy, man. It's funny how we were talking about wide receivers, and here we are talking about Derrick Henry. Like, I mean, this dude's a fucking beast, man. I feel like I've doubted this dude like 2 or 3 years in a row, bro. I'm just done with it until he just fails you. I mean, like, if I'm sitting at the 101, 102, I'm definitely looking at Derrick Henry hard. There's no doubt. Because this dude's going to score a touchdown for you every week, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, here's the question with Derrick Henry. You know, we said we want to get rid of him players a year early than rather too late. Say you're competing this year, like me. I got Derrick Henry. Say I lose in the championship game and don't win the money. Do I sell Derrick Henry in the offseason or do I run it back? What you
Okay,
got, Matt?
look. I'm with you, man. Look, I'm big into the Dynasty League. Like, I'm going to put my team Will Savage team, like, as if I'm Will Savage. This dude's got Derrick Henry. This good dude's got Eckler. If I'm Will Savage and I'm winning it and I win it all this year, I might be willing to just run it on back, man. Just throw on Derrick Henry for another year, Eckler for another year. He's got Devontae Adams. We was all saying, this dude's team's old. He better win it this year. But fuck it. I feel like I might would run it back next year because ain't none of us going to pay a haul for these guys. So I say just run it on back. But like if I was like a different owner other than Will, man, I probably would have tried to sell Derrick Henry this year. I'm just being honest. I would have tried to at least get some first rounders, try to get some young talent, try to get some young running backs in. Because eventually, all these running backs up high, man, they gotta fall off. They ain't done it yet. Maybe Kamara, he's gonna be suspended next year. He ain't really been scoring many touchdowns this year. But it's like these running backs really been kind of staying strong for the most part.
Yeah. And what I've realized a lot as far as the redraft goes is usually running backs is extremely predictable when you draft them in the first round. But this year, it's been ultra predictable. Other than Cooper Kupp getting injured, you know, if you look at the top, say 10 receivers this year, they got drafted in the top 2 rounds or so, except for you know the injuries and stuff. But you know, Cooper Kupp got injured, and then Christian Kirk sneaked his way into. I ain't even gonna say sneaked. He earned his way into the top 10, but it might be a change of pace. It's gonna be something to talk about next year, especially in my redraft rankings. Like you said, I try to be the redraft guy, and I've always been running back heavy because I thought they were the most predictable. But shit,
Right.
Receivers have been extremely predictable this year from where they were drafted.
Yeah. But it's funny because then you got guys like Ian who's drafting like all these running backs at the top, and he's having good success for the most part.
He was having good success, but you know, we're all in the Yahoo League. He's 1 game ahead of me. In the Average Joe's, he's 1 behind me. You know,
I just kicked his ass in the Average Joe's. Let's go.
Yeah, man. I
What a
mean,
good league.
I really feel like when it comes to draft season, we'll talk about it later in the year, or early in the year. But it doesn't matter if you draft 3 or 4 running backs to start. It doesn't matter what rosters you do. You just got to pick the right players. That's it. That's it.
Right.
That's all it comes down to. It don't matter who you pick first, second, third. Pick the right
Man,
player.
couldn't agree more with you, Kraft. Like, there's not just like one way to win it. There's a bunch of different ways to win it. Like, you can win it 0 RB. You can win it going all the way RB. Like, there's just a lot of ways to win it, man. You want to, I know we hit on these wide receivers. We said Stefan's the best. We might with slide Tyreek near it. Want to hit on these tight ends? We all know motherfucking. Oh, some bust. I got some bust.
I got a value pick for you.
Go for it, Chris, man. Give some value, man.
In the redraft too, Amari Cooper.
Oh, big
Pick was
time.
mostly going in the 5th round, 5th, 6th round. He's the wide receiver 8 on the year right now.
Listen, man,
Definitely outperforming.
I could sit here and hate on the craft man all I want and just be like, "That's your boy." But listen, man, I was wrong on it too. Like I was not willing to play I wasn't gonna draft Amari Cooper. There was no way in fucking hell I was gonna do that shit. So the fact that, but the funny thing, the only reason I laugh at the craft man is like this man said he wouldn't even roster him. Wouldn't even roster him, man. So it's like, craft man, explain yourself.
The crazy thing is about Amari Cooper is I had nothing against Amari Cooper, like as a player,
Right.
whatever.
Most of
I
your
just look at
questions, I assume, extended from Brissett, right? Was probably
yeah,
Brissett
it
being
was
under center.
Right.
it was all
Facts.
Briss. Yeah, it was all Brissett. Amari Cooper's been injured half the year for you know years to come, but then as the year progressed, and I kept getting wronger and wronger, if that's more wrong, whatever the damn plural is of that shit. But as I kept getting wrong about Amari Cooper, I just kept getting angrier and angrier every week that he kept doing good. So you're damn right. He was a value pick because he went from he shouldn't be fucking rostered to the wide receiver 8. And
Right.
I'm gonna live that shit down. I mean, it is what it is. He's been he's been a great value for your drafts. If you drafted him, he's
Agreed.
been great.
All right, I got another one for you. The Craftman actually slid this one to me, but I'll just act like I picked this one because I've had Jamal Williams all year on my dynasty squad. This dude's ADP was at 181 in redraft leagues. This dude Jamal Williams definitely outperformed that. I know we're talking a lot of redraft, but if I was from a dynasty perspective and I did it myself, I sold this guy. I mean, there was no way this could sustain, in my opinion. I mean, the Detroit Lions get tackled at the 1 more than anybody I've ever seen. Me and Chris laugh about it all the fucking time about this shit. Like, look at Detroit, they at the 1. So, uh, like, I'll put it like this, Kraft. I was getting all these shitty offers for the Detroit backfield. I had them both. I just sold them both, and I got Pacheco, a first, a second, and a third round for both of those guys. So guys like that, I would be selling high. But Jamal Williams, for a redraft perspective, hell yeah, this dude went off. I would still keep him because I still think for this year, hell, he's still gonna get some work and he's still gonna get the goal line work. So if I was in a redraft year, I'm definitely fucking with Jamal Williams.
Yeah, in redraft he's been great for you. Like you said, he was the ADP 181 in sleeper, and he's the RB12 right now. So he is a RB1 on the year. An RB1 getting drafted at 181
Ridiculous.
is
Absurd.
crazy. But I got mine. Getting drafted in the ADP sleeper this year at ADP 104. And he's the RB8 right now. It's Ramondre Stevenson. I know we heard a lot about Ramondre to start the year. A lot of podcasts, a lot of people said that he was a value pick, and they were right about that shit.
Right.
You know, Damian Harris is not a thing anymore. He's kind of the opposite of Josh Jacobs. They were both going into their contract year,
Right.
and this is how hard fantasy is to predict every year. You're like, oh, they're going to run this man into the ground. One team did it. The Raiders did it, but the Patriots didn't do it. And when you watch Ramondre play, I don't know if y'all watched the Thursday night game. This man is a fucking load, dude.
Yeah.
He is a load, and he can catch the ball. He weighs 245 pounds out there, getting 5 receptions a game. I bet on every time I do my prop bets, I always bet on the over on Ramondre's receptions because they usually set it at 4 and he always gets over. So not much competition there in the Patriots backfield, and he's been an ultra value pick. And all the folks that are listening, put in your go to our fantasy questions and and comment on all this shit. Tell us what
Yeah.
y'all's values are and everything. But
I got
Chris,
another big value
Yeah.
running back for us.
Go
And
for
this
it,
one that
Chris.
I'm surprised that we've talked about this one a lot, and I think we've beaten this horse to death. But Tony Pollard being drafted at least in our dynasty league on startup was drafted in the 13th round. He's the RB10. He's the
Oh
RB10
Lord.
on the year.
It's so funny, man. I tried to get him from Chris and I meant from Will and just a little deal. I was like, just throw in Tony Pollard. He wouldn't throw in Tony Pollard, but he threw me Jamal Williams, which I'm fine with, which was a good one. But it's like, damn, if he would have threw me Tony Pollard.
Yeah, I mean, you got this thing going in the 13th round. He's got 171 fantasy points. I mean, he's literally 9 points behind Joe Mixon. He's not that far behind Ramondre Stevenson. You picked this dude up super late.
Right.
Super late. He is an RB1.
Yep.
Yep. Nah, I'm with you, Chris. Tony Pollard. All right. Well, we got some good values right there. I think Christian Kirk obviously was a good value. You was definitely drafting him way late. I was on him high, but Kraft likes to give me credit for Christian Kirk. I can't take that much credit. I did not think he was going to be a top 12 guy. I thought it was going to be more like a top 24 guy type deal. Maybe top 30 guy or something like that. But top 12 guy, that's just fucking insane. Even next year with Calvin Ridley, Zay Jones, and this offense looking, I don't think he'll be a top 12 guy. But Christian Kirk, I'm gonna take just some I'm gonna take half credit for Christian Kirk. That's what I'll say. I'll take a half credit. But you got anything to say about Christian Kirk, Kraft?
Yeah, I still want to give you all the credit because I want to say that the episode that you posted this on about Christian Kirk was receivers that can finish in the top 12. You did that shit. You're the one. You had Marquise Brown in there, which if he'd have stayed healthy, I think
Would
he'd have been in
have.
the top 12
Man,
too.
while you on it, real quick, real quick, I want to interrupt you. Marquise Brown, before Lamar Jackson went down, was the number 4 wide receiver. Then this year, before he went down, was the number 5 wide receiver. That's all I'm gonna say. People try to hate on me for liking Marquise Brown, but I'm just saying this dude be performing. Okay, go ahead, Kraft. About Christian
I
Kirk
agree.
or whatever.
Yeah, Marquise Brown, we got to keep that name, and we definitely in our rankings next year we have got to remember
Right.
that shit right there. But talking about Christian Kirk, his ADP was 109, so he was getting drafted in, let's say, a 12-team league. He's getting drafted in the 9th round.
Yep.
You're looking at a wide receiver 1 right here. He's the wide receiver 10 on the year. He's finished above T. Higgins, who's played most of the year. He's finished above Michael Pittman, who is like everybody's darling to start the year. Michael Pittman this, Michael Pittman that.
Mine too. Shit.
I was my bust. Michael Pittman was my bust, and he's sitting at the 14.
Yep.
And I think this dude massively underperformed.
Damn. Go ahead, Kraft.
Yeah.
I'm with Chris on that.
But I already know who he's about to talk about.
Mike Evans, wide receiver 20. He's finished above all these guys. Debo, wide receiver 21. This guy was getting drafted. I'm talking about guys that got drafted in the top 3 rounds, and he is the wide receiver 10 on the year. So, yeah, that was one of my value picks too. And C Swizzy, you got another wide receiver value for us right here that performed.
Shoot, I don't know. You were talking about Amon Ra, weren't you?
Yeah, I didn't say.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a value this year.
Yeah. Even this year, that dude was a value. Well, heck, y'all want to move on to some busts? I know I got a couple busts on the top of my mind.
Yeah, I got a couple more wide receivers. No,
The
just one
value?
more. Yeah, just a value wide receiver I want to talk about.
Throw them out there, Kraft. Throw them out there, Kraft. I want them all
Chris-
out there.
Chris Olave. He's a wide receiver 15 this year.
Easy.
He got drafted around the same time Christian Kirk did. He's wide receiver 15. So, yep. That's all I got to say about Olave. In Dynasty, we all know what he's about. You want him on your team.
Want him on your team. I would even take him higher than what I would draft it. I mean, this dude Olave, I love him. Yep, I'm with you. What about another? You got another one, Craft Man?
Wide receiver wise, they're really, like I said earlier in the episode, it's been kind of by the book so far as you drafted them. There's been more busts than there were values as far as the wide receivers go. If you took the risk on DeAndre Hopkins,
Right.
he's in fantasy points per game. He's wide receiver 5 since he's come back. So if you took the risk on him thinking that he was going to be a stud when he come back, I think it definitely paid off. So that's the only other one I wanted to talk about as far as the value goes at wide receiver.
Yeah, I think like pretty much Christian Kirk was my main guy, and then Marquise Brown was my main guy. But Christian Kirk, he got hurt and stuff. I guess now let's just move on to some busts, and then we'll move on to our next episode where we can give these people our gambling picks. Cause I see a 5th motherfucking square done popped up. I know that shit's got to be the poor man. So let's just give everybody some busts real quick. And the 2 main busts off the top of my head, I know there's at least 3 busts off the top of my head that I could just think of easily and shoot them out. Elijah Moore's a bust. That dude was a bust all year, and I was kind of high on Elijah Moore. But the thing is, I was high on Elijah Moore and thought it was more like a Zach Wilson thing. I thought Zach Wilson would improve. It's like, you got all these weapons. The Jets been kind of nailing the draft. I mean, they've been doing pretty good in the draft from what I can tell. So it's like, it was more like a Zach Wilson thing with Elijah Moore. It was like, if Zach Wilson can take the step up, Elijah Moore running in the slot with Garrett Wilson, I think it would have been better for, I have said this, I think it would have been better for Elijah Moore if the Jets would have drafted like Drake London than Garrett Wilson, because Garrett Wilson, he's just like a better version. Like, this dude is just good as fuck. But, yeah, Elijah Moore's a bust. And then like Allen Robinson's a bust. That's off the top of my head. Guys like that. Kraft, what you say?
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on that one. As far as my busts go, you said Elijah Moore, and what was the other one?
Elijah Moore and Allen Robinson is clearly a bust in my eyes. And the thing is with Allen Robinson, it was like, this dude was with Chicago, and it could have been some Matt Nagy shit, but it's like, I know the Rams' offense was bad this year. Like, I don't even know if I would all the way write off Allen Robinson for next year. I don't know if I could all the way do it. Let's just say they fixed their O-line and got that shit working. Maybe Allen Robinson, they could work a little bit with Matt Stafford. But this year, he was clearly a bust. I was thinking he was definitely going to dig into what he, definitely like a top 24, top 30 guy. This dude's like down there like 59 and shit, Kraft.
Yeah, you were. Yeah, Elijah Moore, and I hate to go on that, like, and Allen Robinson, but my bus for receivers right now is Deontay Johnson. He was getting drafted in sleeper as a wide receiver 15. We talked about him the other day. He's a wide receiver 40 on the year. He's barely in flex. He's not even in flex consideration on a weekly basis. And the other one is DJ Moore. He got drafted as a wide receiver 17. He's wide receiver. Even as bad as DJ Moore has performed this year, he's still wide receiver 24. But it's just not what you thought you drafted. So I would consider DJ Moore as being a bust, because you were drafting him on the thought that Baker Mayfield was going to come turn this offense around.
Right. Yeah, agreed. I dead wrong about DJ Moore. I had him in my top 12. There was one more guy that I would throw in my bus list, and I do believe Kraft would have 1,000% agree with this. I know he's kind of walking away a little bit. Cortland Sutton, clearly a bust. This motherfucker, and I'm not blaming him. Not 1 second. And it's the same thing with Judy and all these guys. I can't blame these guys. Chris has said it not 1 time, not 2 times, but a motherfucking million times. Russ is the biggest fraud in the fucking NFL, and I am buying into this shit 1,000,000,000%.
We're gonna have
This
to get
dude is,
sound effects going, man. Cause Russ, man, fucking clown, dude. This dude, good god.
yeah. I don't know, man. This dude, I don't know what to say about Russ. I'm hearing stories about Russ, and I'm just like, dude, you need to quit acting the way you act. I'm like, I heard it, man, Chris, man. This is no joke. I heard a story about that defensive lineman running up in Russell Wilson's face, and I thought it was gonna be because Russell Wilson ain't shit and their offense ain't doing nothing. Nah, man. This is because I heard Russell Wilson was standing on the sideline over there talking about it's Russell Wilson time. It's Russell Wilson time. Like, this dude really thinks he's the next. Him and Sierra are fucking Jay-Z and Beyonce. Like, motherfucker, no, you ain't. You're not. And you need to sit your ass down and start running the offense a little bit because, damn, I've defended Russell Wilson. I've had Russell Wilson's back. I thought these dudes were just acting crazy. They had bad attitudes and shit. Man, this year and 1 year, Chris, I cannot deny I have done a whole 180 on this whole situation about like Richard Sherman versus Russell Wilson and shit. I'm like, this dude Russ, this
I
dude
mean, like, look
Russ
at it
is
right
acting
now.
fucking crazy, man.
That's probably one of the, even in redraft. Like, I mean, Russell Wilson ain't no pushover of a quarterback. Normally, he's the quarterback 21 on the year right now. He's only got 8 passing touchdowns. Russell Wilson has 8 passing touchdowns on the year. I mean,
Holy fuck.
this dude. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, what do you
look,
think? I know you say you're buying into what I'm saying, like that it's fraudulent, like he's fraudulent and all this. Was it just Pete Carroll and the offense making him look good in Seattle, or do you think that
man.
he's just at the end of his career?
Listen, man, I gotta give Russ credit for some stuff, but it's just like, dude, I don't know, man. They just traded you for a haul, and it was just like, here you go. So, Kraft, like, this is what I was saying, Kraft. This dude, Courtland Sutton's definitely a bust this year. There's no doubt about it. And you was saying I'm drafting Courtland Sutton in the 4th round, no matter what. Man, definitely couldn't. You got to back off from that shit. And I was with Kraft, like, yo, I'm taking Courtland Sutton in the 4th round if I can. I don't know, man. But it's just like, man, it's so crazy. We doing this podcast, and I see the poor man P. Miller's face. We about ready to do some gambling tonight. That's all I know.
Hit
Hold
it,
on.
baby.
But hold on, Kraft. I got another bust for you. I'm not gonna say he's all the way a bust. I'm gonna just say somewhat of a bust. Michael Pittman. I felt like he was going to be a little bit better than what he was. I thought Matt Ryan was going to come in. I'm not even going to blame Michael Pittman all the way, but I will say this. I saw Michael Pittman playing against Pittsburgh. Them dudes were on him like white on rice. They were on that motherfucker. I mean, I ain't going all the way to blame Michael Pittman because Matt Ryan's a bum right now. That O-line is trash, so I can't just all the way put on Michael Pittman. But when they did protect Matt Ryan, and Matt Ryan was throwing it out there, they was on that dude. They was covering that guy. So when I watch these guys when I watch Michael Pittman for the next couple of years, I'm just gonna sit back and just watch. I'm like, can this dude get separation from these DBs? What you think about that, Kraft?
Well, there's 2 teams that kind of turn the fantasy world on their heads, where all the experts and I mean even us, Denver, everybody was high on Javonte, Courtland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy. Which one's it gonna be? Oh shit, it ain't fucking none of them because they suck. And the Colts before the year, people were talking about them as Super Bowl contenders, and they suck.
I feel like none of us were saying that though, were we? I wasn't saying that.
There was a lot of folks talking about the Colts being. I was on the point where I was like, the Colts will make the playoffs. I think they'll beat the Titans in the division and lose in the first round, but they're not even. They're not even as good. They're about there like the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're fighting for that spot, the 2nd seed in that division. But you know, Pittman, I really think you just have to reevaluate next year. And the crazy and the hard thing is with the Colts is their offensive line was supposed to be one of the best in the league, and they haven't. As much injuries as people want to talk about with their offensive line, the Colts have been relatively healthy this year. So, it's going to be scary to draft Taylor next year. It's going to be scary to draft Pittman. That whole offense.
I know they had that rookie and they was trying him out at left tackle or whatever, but that shit wasn't working. And listen, man, I know people hate on Matt Ryan, and I get it, man. If I was a Falcons fan and I wasn't being objective, I hate on Matt Ryan too. But this dude has definitely had some bad luck with O lines. And then when he went with the Colts, this O line was supposed to be good. That O line was trash, man. He wasn't getting no help with that shit. But with that said, Matt Ryan's washed. That dude is done. That dude is trash. They need to move on. And then for the Colts, if I was the Colts, it's time y'all quit going this veteran quarterback route. You need to go get you a young guy. They just got killed by Andrew Luck retiring. That's all it was. I mean, they got destroyed by that shit. If Andrew Luck would have stayed with them, he would still be there to this day. So, any more busts? Y'all want to throw some busts out there? Any more busts for these guys? I'll give you a quick bust. Not a terrible bust. I drafted Jonathan Taylor at the 101. Terrible decision. I could have drafted anybody in the first round. They would have done better than Jonathan Taylor, bitch ass. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But other than that, anything else, Kraft? You got any more to say, Chris? Yeah, either one of y'all?
Yes. Tom Brady and Matthew Stafford are busts for me. Quarterback position. That's all I got to say about those. I mean, Tom Brady is in fantasy points per game right now. He's
trash, man.
Yeah. He's I can't even count that far.
I traded a second round before the season because Deshaun Watson was going to be at 11 games. That didn't pay off. I'm just being honest. I've been going back between Kirk Cousins and Tom Brady, fucking it up all year. So that's why in week 13, I'm starting Deshaun Watson no matter what. So, yep, I'm with you.
Too, he had all them concussion games, right? And he was out for a while. He's still ahead of Tom Brady, and he's played every game. Tom Brady is the QB 18 this year. Russell Wilson is the QB 22. Those are some busts. Matthew Stafford is the quarterback 26 on the year.
Yeah, for sure a bust.
Straight up bust.
And another thing I'm going to say is Lamar Jackson has kind of taken a step back, but I can't all the way blame Lamar Jackson. He ain't got no weapons, and his dudes won't catch his fucking touchdown passes for us to actually watch the games and shit. I know that last game, that dude for real had 3 touchdown passes dropped. So, Lamar Jackson has taken just a slight step back. Guys like Tua and Jalen Hurts, I'm going to give them motherfuckers credit. Jalen Hurts, I respect what the fuck Jalen Hurts and Tua. Them dudes we're talking about, if they fuck up, they might not even be on the squad. So them two guys, I got to give those guys credit before we hop off this podcast. What y'all think?
Yeah, when we do our dynasty rankings next year, they're going to be right up top. Right up in the top 5, I'm sure.
Agreed. Well, shoot, Chris, you got anything to say about bust values before I wrap it on up?
Another biggest bust, especially like in a dynasty league, if you look at Zach Wilson as the number 31 QB on the year. Listen to this, y'all. Listen to this. He does not even have 10 more fantasy points than Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield has 73.7 in PPR. Zach Wilson has 81.8 fantasy points.
Holy fuck.
And a lot of people have viewed this guy as the guy for the Jets in Dynasty. If you had him on your stash, you felt like you were good. This dude is another healthy scratch. They're done with this dude. I'm going to stay on my point. I don't think this dude's suiting up for the Jets again.
Man, listen, Chris is dead right about this guy. And me, and I would call the poor man. I see poor man's face. He's going to hop on this gambling podcast and literally in like a few minutes. But man, me and the poor man, at least a little bit, not all the way, was buying into Zach Wilson a little bit. This dude's got all these weapons. They got all these, that defense. I mean, holy shit. How can you fuck this up? I mean, an average quarterback could have went out there and sustained, but the fuck Zach Wilson is fucking up right now. This dude's got weapons out the wazoo. So it's just like, I traded Zach Wilson for Kenny Pickett, and everybody was like, you fucked that shit up. Well, it ain't looking like I fucked it up now because I'm out there balling. And you know what? Fuck you, Zach Wilson. You a bum, man. Just because you out there fucking milfs and shit, like, sit your ass down. Like, why don't you go out there and play a little football every now and then? I mean, you got all these weapons. You got Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson, you got Brees Hall. I'll say this. He did a little bit better with Brees Hall when he could swing the ball out of the backfield. But damn, who couldn't do that? Who can't check it to their running back? You know what I'm saying? It's just like, sit your ass down, Zach Wilson. You're about to go to another team, man. Clown ass.
Yeah, that dude's a bum, man. That dude is terrible.
Seriously.
And then he still goes out there and says it's not my fault. What the fuck do you mean it's not your fault? I saw you you ran out of the pocket against the Patriots, and I thought clearly you're out of the pocket, throw the ball out of bounds. That's it. That's football 101 when you're scrambling and you're not gonna get anywhere. This dude throws it and just throws it straight to the cornerback, and I was like, man, what the fuck are you doing?
My thing is, it's like, Zach Wilson, you can't admit it's your bad, but this dude Justin Fields is out there balling out with the Chicago Bears, and he's talking about it's my fault, going from teammate to teammate, talk about it was my bad out there. It's like, that's something I can respect from Justin Fields. You know what I'm saying? And this dude out here with all these weapons, this dude Justin Fields is out there with nobody. He's out there with a mop and a broom. And then Zach Wilson's out there with all these weapons. And you can't admit just for a second that, hey, I might have let the team down. I'm only scoring 3 points. I'm throwing less than 100 yards. Like, come on, man. Bitch ass, man.
You wrong about him not having no weapons. He's got the self-proclaimed top 3 wide receiver in the NFL. Is his wide receiver 1 right now. What do you mean? Chase Claypool is a top 3 wide receiver, self-proclaimed.
Man, shout out to Chase. Shout out to Chase Claypool. Sit your bitch ass down. All right, Craftman, man. Anybody else? Y'all want to hop on this subject, man, so we can gamble tonight with the poor man, man. What y'all think? Any more values or bust?
I'm done with I love talking about bust because I love the negative aspect of fantasy football. Because then you can vent. You can just vent about folks on your team that's just done you wrong. But I'm done. I'm done with this one. Let's move on to gambling. Let's roll.
All right, man. Listen, fellas. Join the Discord, man. Hop on the Discord. Interact with me, C Swizzy, the craft man, the poor man. Interact with us. Add me on Twitter at Hamm. Add the Crew's podcast at Twitter at the Crew_podcast. I got the links in the descriptions and all that shit. Man, join the podcast. If you want to be a member of the Crew, join the motherfucking Discord. And join and listen to the podcast. I mean, heck, us 4 right here, we ain't sitting here trying to make billions and billions of dollars. We just putting out some good content for everybody. And we put out as good content as anybody, and we put out as much content as anybody out there. So thank you for listening, because I know we have a little core base out there. We're just going to try to grow that core base. So thank y'all for listening. Just give us a 5-star review. C Swizzy, anything to say to the people?
Yeah, make sure you get on this Discord, be active, and be on the lookout. The sky's the limit with this. I got plans for this to get us out there.
Yep.
Correct.
And
right.
I know Matt said we weren't trying to make billions, but it'd be nice to make billions, Just
listen,
saying.
man. I'm not saying we trying to make billions, but deep down, we trying to make billions. Hold up. And if we, it's like this. This is just year 1. We just made a little base. Like, this is just a startup. Like, let's get us a little website out there. Like, I said it in a text today. Like, I love the fucking podcast. Like, I'm gonna start writing articles and shit. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, this shit is in. I'm all the way in.
I saw a podcast studio for sale in McDonough, Georgia, the other day. It was on Facebook. He
Might
had
have to-
3 recording rooms in there. It was nice. He only wanted like $25K for it too, so it like wasn't bad.
Man, I might have to move on back down south. We'll do what we do. Listen, man, that's the thing with us. We do this shit on the Discord. We gonna be in person a little more than what we do. I don't know about the poor man. He's up there in Tennessee, but I'm gonna try to make my way back down to the south a little more than what I do after January. After this little December and January shit. But man, the craft man, Chris, poor man, thanks for just putting up with my shit. And we fixing to get this shit rolling, but let's just sign on out for now because we got another episode to drop tonight. Y'all ready, man?
No.
Gambling is one of the best. I love the topics and I love the gambling, and that's my favorites, man. I love it.
Man, I'm with you. So yeah, man, I'm with y'all, man. Thanks for listening to the podcast, but we out.
Peace.